Chris, the problem is that people don't listen. This is Cara Rogers' message from her. You don't want to listen, and you keep wanting to push stuff that doesn't work because you're not listening. You keep trying to find quick fucking solutions. You don't know what's going on. A lot of people, when I make a video about them, they get angry with me. It happens. When you say you don't judge people, you absolutely do. You show in your suggestions that you've already passed your judgment and decided what a person needs. You've already decided that you're going to pass somebody off. Or already decided that it's somebody else's job. Or already decided that it's not going to work. That's why you say it's somebody else's job, or you say that it's not going to work. When I complain about the horrible things that people do, I'm not just complaining, I'm trying to get help. When you tell me your stories, are you trying to get help? Do you know how hurtful it is that you keep trying to push me and shove me to get a job instead of finding out what my disabilities are? You tell me that you have relatives or you know people that are this or that. That does not get you familiar with me in the least bit. So you know nothing about me or my situation. I've recorded a lot of videos with you, and the things that you know are hurtful to me, you do repeatedly. The interrupting me to talk about hurting people over and over and over again. The reason that pisses me off so much that you keep on doing it is because I've been to jail because people pretended that I did those things. So stop. Or I'm going to try to put you in jail for doing those things because you're actually doing them, Chris. If I do that back, you won't like it. You'll throw a fucking tantrum. You'll go to the fucking cops immediately. You'll show that you know exactly what the fuck to do. You're just plain retarded when it comes to me because you're playing like I'm retarded. You want to tell me Captain Obvious shit that anybody can look up in 5 fucking minutes when I'm telling you about the places that I've been abused here in Tillamook alone. You interrupt me every single time. Every single time you interrupt me, I am in a fragile state of mind because I am in a state of crisis. Every interruption that you want to throw in there and say, oh, well, it's the only way I understand. It's the only way I know. No, it's not. You know how to shut up and listen. You just don't want to. When you stop and interrupt me to say, well, what I'm hearing you say. No, that's not what I'm saying. And you're interrupting me again, so I never get to finish what I'm saying. I have to start over at the beginning, because if I don't start off over at the fucking very goddamn beginning, you're not gonna make the fucking connection. And I'll have to start over again, because you missed something. Because you were busy, because you wanted to always be your turn to talk. And yes, what you've been doing is bullying me. You are bullying me by talking over me and making me feel like I am nothing. Like my experience means nothing. Like what I am going through means nothing. Only what you think and what you assume matters. There are things that I have literally told you and recorded with me telling you over 100 times, and you still ignore that, and you tell me today that you're a good listener. No, you're not, Chris. You are a horrible listener. You are a horrible listener. All of you are. That's the problem. You want to make everything about you. Well, I try to make it about you too. There's a difference between negative people like you and positive people like me. And I can show examples of why I'm right and you're wrong. Hundreds of examples of why I am right and you are wrong. But you're not looking at those examples. You are running with Chris is always right and not shutting up. When I tell you about my disabilities, you start talking over me. And then there's the job thing. I am disabled. I get a fucking check for a fucking reason. When you look something up and you say, oh, look, it costs $3,200 a month to rent a house here. I know. I've been speaking up about that on my YouTube channel. When you're saying, oh, well, I can't even afford it. I know. And you're talking about how hard you worked for the nothing that you've got. You've got jack shit, dude. Look how hard you worked to have jack shit. You know how fucking condescending it is that I busted my ass to have jack shit too. And now I can't fucking work and can't take care of myself because of abuse by other people. And you won't hear about that abuse. You want to push housing that maybe I'll get, maybe I won't. I've told you I filled out this housing paperwork. That all anybody focuses on is housing and I need to get a job. Get a job. Get a job. Shut the fuck up about housing and a job and actually listen. When I'm telling you that I've had housing, instead of brushing it off like I'm telling you for no reason, understand there's a reason I'm bringing it up, you piece of shit. What makes you a piece of shit? Is the fact that you won't shut up about your fucking assumptions. And they are all condescending. When I'm trying to get help, and you're trying to talk over me, and everybody here does this, everywhere I go does this, they tell me these horror stories about the cops. They're not trying to help. They're trying to deter me from doing the right thing. When they're trying to do everything but listen to me, and they just want to interrupt me to try to deter me from getting help, or to try to push me off to get help from somebody else. Well, you're a witness. If I say, oh, Chris told me that these things are happening, that the police are treating him this way, that's hearsay. But it's not hearsay to me. I heard it directly from Chris. I've heard this directly from literally dozens of people in Tillamook about why I need to be afraid of the police. And all of them start telling me about crimes committed by the police. Harassment by the police, BS by the police. They tell me about all their problems, but they don't want my help with those problems. They just want me to listen, but I'm a better listener than they are. However, we're literally making everything about them, everything about Chris, everything about Casey, everything about Claire Jordan. When I get treated like I'm a piece of shit because somebody offered me a job I can't do, I can't help myself. I can't take care of myself. If I do more than I'm already doing, I will be in so much pain that I will actively seek out a way to end my existence. But you don't want to hear that. If I tell you about my disabilities, I'm being negative, or you already know everything. And literally everyone talks down to me like that. It is talking down to me. It is diminishing me as a person and my experiences. If your daughter comes to you, I don't know if you have daughters or sons, but let's say you've got a daughter and she comes to you and she says, I was raped. This is an example of a heinous crime. The crimes committed against me are heinous crimes. Some of them are considered worse than rape because they literally are worse than rape. And yes, I have recordings from the very predators themselves admitting to many of these crimes. What I don't have is a friend or family member who's willing to listen instead of jump to conclusions and have me jump through a bunch of, well, long-winded and wasteful hoops. The reason that they're wasteful is because you still don't know what help I need, because you still haven't listened to my story without repeatedly interrupting me to be condescending about the job thing. And then you tell me about how hard you work. Well, yes, many people have to work hard. But when somebody is being harmed, sometimes you do have to take time off. The thing is, if your daughter was being abused in this way, you would take time off immediately. If you were at work and you got the call, you would take off work immediately to go to make sure it was taken care of. And you, according to what you've said many times, you would kill them. Many people, if they did the things to you that have happened to me, you described how you would hurt them. I'm not allowed to do that. People just pretend that I might, and I go to fucking jail. That's why I need help. Because I am blown off the same way that you blow me off, and you don't recognize that you're doing it. Are you willing to recognize that you're doing it? That yes, I do need housing, but I need someone to understand the safety issues and risks that I am enduring at this very moment. And instead of blowing me off with stories of their past that are long since due, they could listen to my experience instead of saying, oh, well, it doesn't matter because it was years ago. It does matter. I'm still homeless. I still don't get to see my loved ones. I don't have any loved ones here. I have people that I care about. I can't see most of them because of repeated abuse and neglect by law enforcement that would have easily been remedied by one person. Any one of these people who are there for these situations could have spoken up. Any one of the people that I went to for help could have spoken up. Any one of the people who told me that they were going to help could have spoken up. Instead, they gave me all these reasons that they couldn't, or that I had to wait and be patient. This is why my predators get away. Everybody makes excuses. It's not just you. Yes, I get that you're busy. You know what? I'm busy too, but I'm also broke. And when you say that you're broke, a lot of broke people have said, hey man, how dare you come to me for help? I'm broke too. Well, that's exactly where I'm going to you. You do know the situation. You've been through it yourself. We work together or we get nothing. You're broke because you're focused on you. When it comes to helping others, yeah, you want to be nice, but the help that they need, you're not willing to provide. See, no matter how much I try to tell Chris what's going on, he's going to continue pushing the get a job and get housing thing like it's crack. I had housing. That's what they pushed from the very beginning, when what they should have been doing is helping me turn in the crimes committed against me immediately. When Natalie Bollinger and fucking Tim Beeson and Alicia Bollinger and Maddie Boa and Jonathan Hickson and a lot of other people were doing fucked up shit to me, what I needed is a friend or family member who's going to listen, not somebody who's going to tell me, oh, dude, you just need to smoke more pot. Oh, dude, why don't you come over and hang out for a few minutes? We'll play Magic the Gathering. And then it's either Derek Parrish being a screaming fucking asshole over no goddamn thing at all, or it's Joshua Hebert screaming bullshit over no goddamn thing at all. I get that you don't know these people. Understand, I need you to listen to the situation. and in person so that I know that you're listening to me, so that I know that you're there. I get that they're long videos, and I hope this one's about an hour long. The reason I bring up this stuff from the past is because it does still affect me. My credit history does still affect me. All of the money that was stolen from me, starting before Natalie Bollinger was killed, because I'm easy to victimize, I'm easy to take advantage of. And you ignore that every time you tell me I'm intelligent. You're blowing me off. Oh, but you're giving me a compliment that I'm intelligent, but you're using that as an excuse to blow me off at that point. When you tell me you've got this friend in Eugene, when I've explained to you that I have had to move over and over and over again, you're not listening to that. You're interrupting me immediately to start pushing the housing thing or the job thing. Why am I going to work for a country that victimizes me for existing? Why am I going to go running around trying to get a job when I can't take care of myself? I don't have the money to take care of myself. If there's no witnesses to my efforts, it means that it's my predator's word versus mine. I'm called mentally ill, and the cops don't like me. Do you bother to find out why? When you tell me that nothing can be done, you're being negative. When I say I need to turn in my predators, I need this shit to be documented by the courts. It needs to be in their possession, but it needs to be done safely. I've repeatedly been forced to have to try to turn in evidence against officers in Virginia, in Nebraska, in Washington State, in Oregon, literally to those officers, whereby they chose to break the law and antagonize the situation. Why? Because you weren't there. You're telling me to go places that you're not going with me. When you say that you will do these things, is it going to do the things that I need help with, that I'm asking for help with because I know my situation? Or your assumptions based on not listening? If I've told you something over 100 times and you've interrupted me every single time to talk over me, you're being demeaning to me as an individual, as a human being. If somebody in a wheelchair tells you that they're not able to push that wheelchair up 12 flights of stairs, arguing with them about their disability is a fucked up thing to do. Making it about you and you're, oh, well, you know, I used to be in a wheelchair back in the day. I was in a wheelchair and I remember, and then you go off on a fucking trip down memory lane. The point here is that I don't have access, and you do. You have access that I don't. If we work together, we can have a solution. Now, for the person in the wheelchair, they know the solutions. They already know what their options are. You don't have to give them their options. They've been in a wheelchair their whole fucking life. They know what their options are at that fucking point. This isn't their first fucking time that they've had to go, hey, there's no wheelchair access here. Here's my options. But you want to argue with the retard in the wheelchair, because obviously he is too retarded to understand that you're telling him, hey, I don't want to push up the stairs either. I remember how much it sucked having to try to push upstairs. Oh, dude, I was really good. I could balance really well and go upstairs. I had great upper body strength. But you know what? When you're telling that to a quadriplegic, That's a much different fucking story, isn't it? No, but you're not registering that. You're making it about you. Just like literally everyone else. You don't hear what I'm saying. Adult Protective Services is who we're supposed to call. And someone does need to call with me, and since you do know many of these local cops and their tactics, and so do many of these other junkies, all of your words are important. But I'm not being irrational by asking you to listen. The reputation that I have from crimes that I did not commit and was never allowed to defend myself against have had long-lasting repercussions for me. I'm living them every day. When you say, oh, I didn't see the abuse, you're seeing the fucking aftermath of that shit. It doesn't just magically go away. And it isn't just cops here. When you blow me off by saying, oh, it's just Tillamook. No, it's fucking not. And it's still illegal of them to do it. Blowing me off by just telling me you can't do something. Well, I can help to teach you how to do a lot of shit. The thing is, my predators go through all my stuff with a fine-tooth comb, trying to find some excuse to fucking harm me and pretend I'm a monster. While you make every excuse to look the other way or to talk over me and make suggestions, make it about you and your friends and all of your stuff. Everything that you have that I don't. Understand that you having a family is not my choice or my fault. Understand that when you tell me that you're having a problem, I do want to help with your problem. But that's not why you're telling me. You're telling me is an excuse why you can't do something. When I'm telling you what's going on in my life, I'm trying to explain it to you as best I can. Let's imagine a train as the timeline. Every time you interrupt me, you're dropping the gate at one of the crosswalks, or dropping the gate, and you're severing a few cars. And then I got to go back, and I got to take the time to hook up the train and start again. How long is it going to be before you break the chain again? How long until you interrupt me again to start talking about you or about how you don't have time? You've got plenty of time to tell me you don't have time. You've got plenty of time for socializing. You have plenty of time for socializing. Because that's what it becomes, is socializing. Now the situation with Amanda, she's a witness to multiple situations. Whether or not she wants to understand how important that is, or why they're important, that's not my fault, or my choice, or my decision. With Natalie Bollinger and the stalkers there, I have the evidence that shows that I didn't stalk her. And if you sit down with me at the library and look at that evidence, if you can make the time to do that, you can speak up because you'll have seen actual evidence. Actual evidence that shows that I told the truth and that my predators lied. It's fucking blatant day and fucking night for anyone to fucking see. All you have to do is take a look. In my vehicle, how many times have you stopped and actually taken a look at the stuff that I have in here? How many times have you made an effort, even with me begging you to take a look, explaining to you, I have it in my car, I can show it to you, I just need a place to plug it in and show it to you. But you got to make the time to look. I understand his time constraints, but if he doesn't explain his time constraints to the courts, or that I did try to get help from him, it doesn't work. The cops get to say whatever they want. And you all know it. Many of you have gone through the same things yourselves. Many of you locals, you understand what the shit's like just a little bit, but many of you locals are also telling me the same bullshit stories that I get told. They're bullshit. They're bullshit stories. The reason that these professionals at the Northwest Senior and Disabilities lie to you, and at the Social Security office, the reason that they lie to you is because they don't want to do their fucking jobs. They want to tell you about their overwhelming caseloads, or, of course, antagonize you because you're being a bother. Well, I'm being a bother because I'm an at-risk adult who is taking abuse every single day, including this financial abuse. Meanwhile, when people threaten my life, I'm told I just need to let it go, and it's no big major deal, and I just need to ignore it. Ignoring predators doesn't stop it. Ignoring predators doesn't make it so I can see my friends and family without fear of abuse by those predators. And they have names. When I explain to you that there are literally hundreds and hundreds of predators that have taken part in this, instead of brushing me off and telling me you can't do anything, understand that anyone can do anything about that. Anyone can. It's because I'm called disabled, because I am called mentally ill, because I am physically disabled. Because of those things, yes, you can help me to turn it in. Yes, you can be present when I'm there for questioning. You can be there to protect my rights as a human being. But when they lie to you, you need to understand that they're going to lie to you. Police officers think this is okay. If you're poor, it is okay, unless you work together. I'm trying to work together with a bunch of fucking meth heads to get the cops to do their jobs. All these meth heads got stories. Which one of them are bullshit and which one of them ain't, I don't know. But I know that my experiences coincide right along with theirs and with yours, Chris. The stuff with Loftman and Sadler, Martinez, isn't just documented that you were talking about those things, but also that many others were. Many people that you know. And you could work together. You could actually try to work together with many of these people who are pissed off at me because they're on my YouTube channel. Well, you know what? Their words do matter. That's why they're on my YouTube channel, and that's why you're on my YouTube channel. It's your opinions that prevent you from helping me the way that I need. When I'm telling you about little tips and tricks that are pulled to prevent us from turning in our predators, and how it prevents us from being able to take care of ourselves because it's expensive, that we will be lied to if it's just us, that we will be blown off if it's just us, we will be treated like we are schizophrenic if it's just us, we will be called mentally ill if it's just us. But you need to listen to the story. And I have a time limit. There's always a time limit. That makes it so that I have to rush through it. And the more time you spend interrupting me and asking questions to derail the fucking train, the more confusing it's going to get, because it's a fucking derailed goddamn train. It's a big fucking mess that both of us are trying to pick out the parts that you are fucking looking for in specific. Right there at a moment's fucking notice. Meanwhile, we're not talking about one crime that was committed against me. We're talking about hundreds of crimes that have been committed against me and in front of me here in Tillamook, Oregon. I'm exhausted. I can't take care of myself. Mentally, I am exhausted. I can't take care of myself. I am afraid at all points in time that I will be harassed because the fact that I exist is illegal. When you talk about how even with as hard as you work, you can't afford rent, you can't afford a place. Well, exactly. Why aren't you speaking up with me about that? Or these people who are harassed sexually by lawmen? Or these people who are laughed at and ridiculed by lawmen? Or these people who are deterred from turning in Robert Farnsworth? Or the way that the cops work together and these services work together to send you around in circles, each one of them claiming they don't know what they're supposed to do. No, they've all had the same mandated reporter training. All of them knows exactly what to do. But because you're called mentally ill, they get a loophole right there. Without a friend or family member, they automatically win. When I say friend or family member, I don't mean talk over me until I do what you want. You're still pushing the housing and the job thing. After months and months and months and months of me trying to explain to you my disabilities. And also how I got those disabilities. Did I tell you about how many assaults I had to endure at the hands of police? Jailers? Instead of saying, oh, you can't do anything about it. Yes, you can. But it starts with listening instead of making excuses and being negative the whole fucking time. What you're doing is trying to deter me from turning this shit in. And that's never okay. That's not friendly. If I'm telling you that I want my life to end, you contributed to the reason that I want my life to end. You contributed to it by making me feel like I am nothing. Because although you do nice things for me, you don't do a good thing. Because you don't listen. And it's not just Chris, it's all of you. All of you are so caught up in your own trauma and drama. You don't understand that all of the excuses that you've made add up to days with some of these people. Days and days and days of them making excuses why their voice doesn't matter, why their words don't matter. Me telling the courts or the police about Chris's horror stories versus Chris going in with me and filling out a report about it and explaining that, yes, I do have a very valid reason for being afraid of the cops. And I do have a very valid reason for being afraid of the homeless folks. Most of them out here are addicts. It wasn't like that in Boulder. In Boulder, most jobs you were going to get, you had to pass a whiz quiz. And in order to get the job, you had to stay sober. Probably 9 out of every 10 homeless people that I knew in Boulder, Colorado had a job. Most of them were sober. If they weren't sober, they either drank a bit or they smoked a bit of pot. Now, when you push the housing thing, or you try to deter the victim from turning in their predators, you are wasting valuable and precious time. And when you are pushing only what you want to do, you want me to have this housing thing. How about you invest time in listening to me in person where I know that you're listening to me? It helps to put me at ease to know that you're actually listening to me. If you're actually listening to me. But if I've said something over 100 times and I have to try to get in a little bit and piece in between you interrupting me, and then you can't make the dots connect, well, we're not playing connect the dots. I'm trying to get heard and you're trying to talk over me. If your daughter came to you and said I was just raped, how long would it take you to get on the phone with CPS and the police? Did anyone here try that? No. I had to repeatedly push them, and then they put me in a room alone with an officer that had taken part, and I had to try to turn it in alone again. See, that's the thing. I was duped into doing it alone again, because none of those mandated reporters wanted to do their job. That's why they talk over me. And you talk over me too. It is condescending. It is demeaning. When you say you need to know everything about everything before you can make a decision, no, you don't. You've made plenty of decisions without knowing anything about it. You've told me your solutions for many of my problems without knowing anything about my problems because you talk over my problems. I like you. You're nice. But nice is not the same thing as good. I gotta go back inside the library and see if my stuff is charged and my phone's about to die. So I'll probably have to make a part 2 to this. I'll make the part 2 an explanation of some of the stuff that's gone on. Now, the reason that the housing thing, that I've already had housing, is important is because even after getting housing, which takes a really long time, even after getting housing, you still have to have a friend or family member when crimes are committed against you. Or you need one of these agencies to do their jobs to advocate for you. I need to turn in the crimes that were committed against me by every single mandated reporter that I went to. Literally every single one. They did not follow the law or the protocols. And that's why Natalie Bollinger is dead. And that's why a lot of other people are dead. Very specifically because of bias. People don't want to listen to a disabled homeless male. They disrespect us in the same way that you do. When you talk over the victim, for any reason whatsoever, especially if you do it for months. Imagine if your daughter came to you because she was raped by a police officer and you knew that this police officer was a rapist, that this police officer had raped your ex-girlfriend or several friends of yours already, that he'd raped another friend's daughter, that you have heard these stories and now your daughter is telling you that this happened, and then you blow her off for 6 years. Imagine doing that. And then imagine after 6 years of doing that, your daughter is still being victimized. She's still being treated like she cried wolf. And people are raping her and telling her, hey, you cry wolf, nobody's going to believe you. That's what this is really like. Now imagine she's being targeted and being raped often. These people know they can get away with it and call her mentally ill and pretend like she made it all up. Oh, she just makes these things up. She's just sexist. She just doesn't like men. She's just a man hater. Well, let's stop using analogies and metaphors.
Throw that in there.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, I repeat probably 100 times to a person that I record everything. There is too much to go through now because I have to record everything. I don't have a place to go through it. When you say you're going to make time, please make the time when you say that you will. And also, if you're going to make the time for the help that I need, not the help that you want to shove down my throat because you haven't heard what's going on. Alright, I'm going to end this video and start part 2.